What is up YouTube, RiskzzHD here, back again today with another Modern Warfare video. And today we saw the release of the new Battle Royale mode called Warzone, and it is absolutely mental. I'm going to be showing you guys the first ever win that I got at the beginning of this video, and then I'll show you highlights from a game or two prior to that one, which also went really well. I think I got more kills in that game, but I won the other one, so I'll show you them both. Unfortunately we didn't win the second one. But it did come down to the wire. Both my teammates died and I was in quite an awkward spot, but I did manage to get 2 kills, but then I get picked off, which is really unfortunate. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this mode and I hope you enjoy the gameplay in the background. At first, I must say I was really skeptical with how the game would run on consoles, as obviously the map is just huge. It's like 2 or 3 times the size of Blackout, but obviously the player count is increased to 150, and with the respawns and the way that works, which I'll talk about later, the game is still really fast paced, and especially in the final rings, just the enemies are swarming in. It's just absolutely crazy. But yeah, my Xbox loses frames on the ground war maps as it is, so I was quite worried that on this massive ground war map it would be, or on this massive Battle Royale map, it would just lose frames and be absolutely terrible. And during my first game it did just that. I was jittering around the map and it was really unenjoyable. However, as soon as I restarted my game, it was so smooth, so clean, and it just ran absolutely seamlessly. So if you guys are having that same problem, I definitely recommend you just restart your game. That's what worked for me. Also, I thought now would be a good time for me to say that as the game is so new, if you have any questions regarding how the game actually works, because there are quite a few different mechanics in this game that are different to older Battle Royale games, just drop a comment down below. I'll try and explain to the best of my ability from what I've experienced during the game. Obviously the game's only come out today, so there are plenty of things that we obviously haven't discovered. But yeah, if you're confused about anything, just comment down below. I'll be happy to help you if I have the answers. And also, just one thing to clear this out of the water, I guess that was what the right phrasing. This game is absolutely free. If you don't own Modern Warfare, you can still play this. If you own Modern Warfare, you can play it also. The download is slightly smaller if you already own Modern Warfare. But yeah, I definitely recommend you give it a go. Anyway, I've got so much to say already, and the game hasn't even been out that long. This new Battle Royale is just amazing. I love how they really made some of the elements a bit more simplistic, but they incorporated it really well, and they kind of simplified things that didn't need to be complicated in the first place. So for example, the way you pick up a gun and you just can't change any of the attachments. It's kind of the same way Fortnite works. You pick up a gun, it's the way it is, you can't change anything on it. And this is really helpful because it's always been one of the most awkward things for a console player on a Battle Royale. And they managed to solve the problem. You just, the same gun, you just pick it up. However, a lot of people would say that that reduces the replayability to the game and it makes it slightly less complicated. However, the way that they solved that problem is that they've implemented the ability to get classes from airdrops that you made before the game started, which really increases the depth in the gameplay, because now, especially with Modern Warfare's extensive creator class system, there are just so many different possible loadouts that you could use, and it's just fantastic. I think that with the way, if you had like Blackout system of the way that you scavenge attachments, I'm not sure that would work in Modern Warfare, because obviously with attachments having pros and cons, it would be so awkward to decipher whether you're actually making the gun worse. And also, when you pick up guns off the ground, some of them will have extra attachments already put on them. They're variants that have already been in the game, so you might have earned them from the tier system or from the ones you can buy in the shops. But you obviously, in the Battle Royale, you don't need to own the variant to be able to pick it up. So for example, I think I picked up the Golden Dragon AK-47, the one that is just golden with, I think it's got bayonet on it, which is really awesome. And yeah, luckily I managed to pick that up and I got to give it a go, which is just really cool. And it almost made me want to buy it in multiplayer, but I don't really spend that much money on cosmetics because they're quite expensive. But yes, I think this feature is just fantastic. You'll see me pick up my own class in this gameplay in the background. I equip a class which I made which overkills an M4 and an AX50, and I definitely recommend using a class like this one, especially making sure that you're selecting an AR or an LMG with an optic, as they will really help you so much in the longer range engagements. And yes, it's also definitely worth noting that you shouldn't run an AR and an LMG. I mean, you can if you want, but they use the same ammo type, so be cautious when you're constructing your classes that your guns don't cross over the same ammo type, because you don't really want to bleed through all your M4 ammo and then realize that suddenly you've got nothing left in your LMG. But yeah, that's just a quick tip that I had from when I was playing the game. Also, I think I should definitely just give props to Infinity Ward and talk about how amazing this map is. Obviously, I haven't dropped on all the locations because, you know, the game's only been out today and I haven't had too long to play it, but I did have long enough to get a win, which I was really surprised by. But all of the locations mesh together really well, and it makes the map seem like it has a very cohesive structure. And I love the addition of all the older Call of Duty multiplayer maps, even though we haven't seen them brought back into Modern Warfare's multiplayer yet, such as Broadcast from COD 4. I dropped there, it was really cool. It was kind of, I didn't play too much COD 4, but it was kind of nostalgic because it's been a long time since I did. And it's really cool to see them added in, and they merged them in really well. Also, this is really cool. It probably means we will get these maps in a future season. So if you'd like to see what they're like and what they're going to be like when they're added to the game, you can just drop there, have a little roam around and see what it's like. It's just really, really awesome. And it's awesome to see them in the Battle Royale. Another aspect that I really like in this game is the way that the armor system works. It's quite simplistic and there's not that much luck involved. For example, I remember back in Black Ops 4, at least definitely when the game came out, the tier 3 armor was just so strong, and if you didn't get it, it was kind of like hard cheese. You better get ready to win some really, really challenging gunfights when it comes to the final circle. And also, the people who did get the tier 3 armor, they'd just hide until the end of the game so their tier 3 wouldn't get broken, and then in the last ring they'll just jump out and no one could kill them really, or you wouldn't be able to kill them very easily. Obviously they changed this in future updates with the ability for you to rebuild and repair your armor in Black Ops 4. But in my opinion, Modern Warfare system is just basically perfect. So you spawn in with 2 armor pieces attached to you, and you can very easily find a third to add on, and then you'll have basically full armor. However, if you were to get into a gunfight and 1 or 2 of them get broken, you have one of 2 options. The first is to find some that are just lying around by scavenging, or you can use some of the money that you've saved up, and the money is really key in this game, and there are lots of different ways to get the money. But you can use the money that you've saved up to buy 5 more at once. I think it costs 1,500 pounds, dollars. I don't really know what the money system is in this game. But it's a really great system, and you never feel bad when your armor is broken, as you know you can quite easily get it replaced or just find more. And it really does encourage people to move around a bit more and get into some different gunfights, because you know that your armor can be replenished quite easily and quite quickly, as the adding of the armor doesn't take long at all, which is just really great. Also, the other thing that you can wear in the game, I don't think it actually changes what you look like, but you can get a gas mask, which I think I remember seeing something about 12 seconds. It maybe makes you survive in the gas, or you take less damage, which I think is really cool, and I think you can also buy a gas mask. Also, I can't believe I haven't spoken about the respawn system yet, which is just the most awesome I've ever seen in a Battle Royale game. I know I keep saying it's awesome, it's fantastic, but you know, I've just got off playing this game, I've just had a win. It is absolutely crazy, this game. So the first time you go down, if you're not revived by your teammates and the enemy kills you, you'll be sent to the Gulag. And I think this is just so cool. So what you've got to do to respawn is you've got to win this really intense 1v1. The Gulag isn't quite the same as the one from the 2v2 mode. I think it's kind of like the middle has more of a, it's got a circle in the center, which is where the flag always spawns. And the flag spawns really quickly. You don't have long in these gunfights, they're over very quickly, and I think you get assigned a random class, or both players get assigned a random class. So you don't know what you're going to use, and it is just absolutely awesome. It's so intense. I say it's intense because everyone who is queuing to do one of those matches to come back into the game is standing above you, watching you in this 1v1, and it's kind of like a cage fight basically. And the people who are standing over you can pick up rocks and just chuck them at you. And I think they do like 1 damage or something. I think I hit someone once. And it's just absolutely crazy. I really like this system. If you do lose the gunfight, it's not all over for you, because your team can spend some of their money to respawn you back into the game at one of the stations where you buy stuff. I think it's a great idea, and you'll see one of my teammates come back into life this way in the gameplay in the background. I think my teammate buys him back in. I went over to do it, and then I realised my teammate had brought him back in. But yeah, in addition to all this, you can also buy a self-revive, which lets you bring yourself back up after being downed, which is pretty epic. This will definitely help out for those people who go for solo victories in squads. because they'll be able to bring themselves back up after going down. I'll obviously talk about this later because you can't play solos, which is so dumb in my opinion. You can obviously play on your own, and you can play on your own and not fill, and you can play on your own and fill. But in my opinion, they should add it back, but I'll talk about that later. But yeah, this will definitely help those people who go for that crazy challenge of trying to win all on their own. Another really cool aspect to Warzone is the ability to call in some of the kill streaks from multiplayer. I think that it's mostly limited to like the airstrikes and the cluster strikes, but it's still really awesome to see them in the Battle Royale as they're such a staple of the Call of Duty franchise. You don't earn them like you do kill streaks, instead you've got to go and buy them from the stations. These stations are really key, by the way, and so is the money, because the money is kind of the thing that the game revolves around almost. Like, you can bring back your teammates with money, you can buy extra armor with money, you can buy the airdrops where you can get your classes with money. It's just so helpful, and there are so many different ways to find it, from completing these challenges to just finding money, to getting it from dead enemies. But yeah, it's really cool. And also, I should add that inside the game there are those mini side missions, as I mentioned, or quests. I'm not sure quite what they're called, but they're where you can get lots of money. Examples of these are just like hold down an objective for a certain amount of time, or go and kill an entire squad that are marked, or something along those lines. I think I do that in one of my gameplays. I can't remember if it's the one I win or if I don't win. Our team go and hunt down this squad, and it's quite cool. You get quite a lot of money from it, and this idea really kind of adds a lot of replayability to the game. It will make it so refreshing, especially if they change them up and add new missions every so often. It will just be absolutely mental. And obviously, I said that they'd simplified some of the aspects of the game. Well, they made a lot of it more complicated, like this money system. You can give money to your teammates, you can and there are so many different things you can do with the money, and with things like this, and they're so easy to change. It'll make the game so replayable, and it will really help the future of this game and its longevity. Now, I think before I wrap up this commentary part of the video, I should discuss some of the bad things about the Battle Royale. So far, I've only discovered 2 bad things, and I'm sure one of them will be fixed really shortly, because Infinity Ward have said that they're looking into it, and this is obviously the way the timer resets when someone leaves the pre-game lobby. This is just so frustrating. It takes you forever to get into the game sometimes, because obviously people are going to be impatient. They just want to play the new game, and they just back out when the game's not starting, and it just keeps resetting that timer. This was a problem in multiplayer on Ground War quite a while ago, and they got on top of it pretty quickly, so I think this will be solved relatively soon, so you don't need to worry about that too much. My other problem with the game is that there is no option to queue for solos, duos or quads, as I mentioned before. You can obviously queue solo or duo and then either choose to not fill with a random third player or choose to fill, but it's not quite the same as playing solos and duos. For example, when I played today, I had no clue whether I was going to get Scumpy on my team or just an absolute potato. Obviously in the gameplay in the background you'll see I actually had some quite good teammates, which I got really lucky with. But yeah, I'd really like them to implement solos? Yes, solos, duos and quads again, and I'm sure they'll come in the future. It's just they're not here yet, and that's a bit frustrating. I'm sure it's part of their drip feed model, which they've been doing. It's kind of the same thing with the tier system or the battle pass and the seasons. They could release all the content at once, but you kind of get it in chunks along the way. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is, and yeah, I'm sure they'll come in the future, so you'll just have to wait a while. As a quick side note, I'd just like to say thank you for the overwhelming support on my most recent Modern Warfare montage and all my other montages and videos on the channel. There are so many positive comments, and it truly means a lot. You guys are all so cool, and I'd also like to say thank you for over 300 subscribers. I still can't believe that this many people actually like my videos enough to subscribe. I put a lot of effort into them, but it really means a lot that you guys really enjoy them. And yeah, and you always comment such nice things down below, and it really makes me happy, and I love talking to all of you guys. So comment down below what you think of the new Warzone mode, and if you're excited to play it. Drop a like if you did enjoy the video, subscribe if you're new, and as always, I hope all you legends have a fantastic week.